Democrats talking about affordability comes across as a little bit of hypocrisy from where I sit. Year after year, there are more government regulations, more paperwork for businesses and individuals to go through in order to make a living or sell a product. But they're so skilled at politicians that they flog affordability as if they can give a solution to it, and we're not part of the cause. Yet the inevitable result of growing the size and breadth of the state is increasing the cost to the citizen and to businesses to go about their everyday life and to run their businesses every day. I built houses for 25 years in Connecticut, and I saw over the years how these regulations, how the permitting process got lengthened, how the minimums what we had to put in the buildings got increased, with no appreciable benefit to the consumer, just more paper, just more delay, just more expense. You cannot seek shelter or find protection from the elements underneath paper plans. You cannot feed your family or yourself with the paper that you have to produce to do business under the heel of the state. Now, it's not just Democrats, as Republicans certainly helped that process along when I did it, that got the permitting longer and longer, from 2 months to 6 to 7 months for the same type of project. Now, as a realtor, I also have to take continuing education courses to keep my license current. And I just completed my 12 hours of continuing education, and one of those were a legislative update for what they've passed in Connecticut for the last 2 years, which is absolutely pathetic. It takes tone deafness to another level. Here you have a state with amongst the highest per capita tax payments in the union, with amongst the highest electrical rates and natural gas rates in the nation, with one of the slowest economies. Connecticut only regained the jobs lost in the 2008-2009 Great Recession in around 2024-2025. One of the last states, because it is so phlegmatic. And yet the CE course voices treated what had happened these last 2 years as a step forward, as if they are helping in the quality of life of Connecticut citizens or citizens in general. We now have fair housing notices. We have interpreter forms. And these things will, quote, ensure fairness and compliance with the law, unquote. A sub-agency agreement, ensuring equal access to housing opportunities. That's a joke. Quote, fair, consistent, and non-discriminatory treatment. Quote, ensuring transparency, accountability, and consumer protection in every transaction. Can you hear the victory speech? Quote, using the correct form ensures fairness and compliance with the law. And violations can be reported to something called the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunity, which is hypocrisy. As in our human rights, we should have the ability to shelter ourselves at a reasonable cost, to feed ourselves and our children at a reasonable cost, to get a job, to have business opportunities, to have growth in our own career. And yet when the state sits on the economy so heavily, that is all denied. So to say that you have a commission on human rights and opportunity is a fallacy. And such beautiful sounding platitudes comes from a state, a Democrat state, that has, again, one of the lowest growth rates, one of the highest per capita tax rates. It has mass emigration of high net worth citizens to be replaced by lower skilled and proficient citizens. And as mentioned before, it has some of the highest electricity rates in the nation. It appears nothing has been done in the last 2 years to relieve the pressure on our economy by an ever-growing state with ever more laws to let these Democrats tell us how caring they are as they strangle the economy, but cement their power. Yes, they pass laws to ensure fairness, to ensure compliance with the law. And let's read that correctly. Compliance with the law means to comply with their every edict and demand, which in turn makes them feel good about themselves because, hey, they wrote it on a piece of paper and the piece of paper did not resist. The statists and Democrats say that they are for the marginalized, they are for BIPOC, they are for the unheard, the unseen. We've heard it all before. And yet they make it so difficult for people to earn a living, to get a mortgage at a reasonable rate, at a reasonable price for the housing, to get a rental that is available, that is clean, that is safe, secure, at a lower percentage of a person's income, to buy groceries, to get transportation, to heat their home, to have the electricity running, all made more expensive by these statists. In the end, fewer houses are built, and when fewer houses and apartments are built, everything gets more expensive. You know, it is a king without clothes. Before 1971, there was no state building code in the state of Connecticut. And yet we have no problem living in houses built before 1971. They don't fall down. This is a king without clothes. Today, Vermont has no building code for single-family residences in 2026. You'll still go there. You'll still stay in Airbnb there in a newly constructed house. So who takes it in the neck from these caring, compassionate progressives who love increasing the width and breadth of the state? The poor, the marginalized. Those are the ones who take it in the neck. Those ones have their American dream denied. And so my continuing education course talks as if advance has been made in these last 2 years, and instead they've just added more paperwork, and they have done nothing to decrease the cost of housing, to decrease the cost of heating your home, of having the lights on, and of having better economic opportunity. So this continuing education course just reminded me how wrong these statists are. But they don't care, because it's power they're after, and power they have, and power they shall use to make sure that you, the citizen, are always trying to get in compliance with the law. What do you think?